Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Simon and today I am back with my August book haul, which is unusually timely for me as I am filming this on and it will be going live on the 31st of August. September is mere hours away, which feels like autumn is a-coming, and unusually for me, I'm holding off on saying that autumn is here and that it's feeling very autumnal today because I've had one of my favourite summers ever and I don't quite want it to end, but I am starting to think about autumn reading and maybe an autumn TBR, which hopefully the lovely Nathan of Nathan's Nook is going to help me with. That'll come later in September because I am eking out summer while I can, which very unusual for me because I'm usually a basic biatch when it comes to how much I love autumn. Anyway, let's just get cracking with the books because that's what you're here to see. And as always, I'm going to start with two books that I have shared on the channel before. However, they were in proof form and look quite different from their final editions, and they are both out next month. First up, we have Half-Light by Mahesh, which is one of my most anticipated reads of the year, which means I'm very naughty because I've still not got to it and the publisher's very kindly sent me a proof quite a while ago. This is set in India around the time of decriminalisation of homosexuality, and I'm super duper intrigued for it. I have read and loved Mahesh's work before, and so very excited for this one, and we'll be heading to it soon. And then we have You Had to Be There, Jodie Harsh's memoir. Very excited for this one. Again, I've been meaning to read this for quite a while. It says an odyssey through Naughty's London one night at a time, and I remember Naughty's London only too well. I was working as a journalist for a queer magazine called Bent Magazine. Did what it said on the tin, and was having a right old time. So it'll be interesting to hear their account of those times and see the nostalgia that brings back. But very excited for this one, and like with Half-Light, one that I've been meaning to read for ages. Now on to a couple of books that are two of my most anticipated books of the year, one of which I only found out about earlier today when I was opening some post for a vlog that you'll be getting on Thursday, which is a Spend the Week With Me vlog, and we go off here, there and everywhere. Anyway, you'll see my mother reading this, will you? But my mother was reading this, and I also have a copy, and it is No Friend to This House by Natalie Haynes. This is not how it will look when it comes out in a couple of weeks' time. This is the proof. This is her take on Jason and the Argonauts and Medea, and I am so excited for this. Mum was loving it when she was reading it when I saw her this week, and I'm thrilled because Mum's proof was signed and so is mine. I've just checked. So very excited for this one. And another one that I'm super duper excited for is Pulse Stories by Cynan Jones. I think actually it might be Curran Jones. This is not what the book will look like. I've mentioned my slight beef with proofs like this because
how are you going to remember? Well, you're not going to associate this cover with the final cover, which I will pop here if it's available, when it comes out, really. But regardless.
This is out in November, and Curran Jones, I've read 3 of his books, I think. The Dig, Cove and Still Aside, and thought they were absolutely fantastic. I have a few of his backlists to get to as well, but I had no idea that he had a short story collection coming out, and so I'm super duper excited about it. And from the titles of the stories, it sounds like it's going to be very much about nature, which he's written about before, and I just think that he is brilliant, so super duper excited for that. Then a book that was on what I call my piles of possibility, which are books that I've been sent unsolicited that don't necessarily sound like me, but I'm not sure that they're not for me. And I've been intending for ages to do videos on Patreon where people can sort of save the books from the piles of possibility as I sort them. I am possibly going to time it so that Patrons only have a certain amount of hours before the recycling is going to be done, and they have to beat the recycling. I mean, there's peril abounds there, isn't there, frankly, and who doesn't need a bit of that? Anyway, I have been hearing rave reviews of The Imagined Life by Andrew Porter. This is about a man whose father left him and his mother when he was only 12 years old. And at some point he starts to find out more about his father's history and a group of his father's friends. and intertwines the AIDS epidemic in the 80s. What I'm imagining this is about a man who was a closeted homosexual at that time and then chose to leave his family, and that sounds both brilliant and devastating and something that I want to get to, and the lovely Ross at Reads by Ross had absolutely raved about it, and that was what made me save it from the piles of possibilities. So yeah, I shall be reading that in due course. On to 2 Booker Prize long listees. Now I will say so far I have read 4 of the Booker Prize long list and it's been a real mixed bag. I've really enjoyed 2. I have really not enjoyed 2. I'll be telling you all about those in my August reading wrap up, which hopefully will be, well, I keep saying I'm not going to promise what dates it'll be, but hopefully soon. I still have a few that I'm keen to read from the long list and a few that I didn't have that I was, well, one that I was particularly keen to read and then another that I've heard such mixed things. I'm so intrigued by it. The one that I'm super duper keen to read is The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny by Kiran Desai. Sorry, the lighting, it's the autumnal lighting, but also the foiling. Let's blame it on those 2 things and rather the person holding the book. But this is meant to be an epic love story. It's almost 700 pages. However, I say however, like it's a bad thing that it's a long book. That's how my brain shamefully works with longer books. That said, again, if I love an epic book, I can't get enough of it and I never want it to end. And that's what I feel like this book is going to give me from what people who have been lucky enough to get a copy early have been saying about it. So yeah, very, very excited for this one. And then the book I've heard mixed things about is Audition by Kitamura. Some people have really, really disliked this book of apparently 2 halves. Apparently there's a big switch in the middle. But then some people have absolutely loved it too. And enough people that I trust with their opinions have loved it that's made me go, okay, I want to give it a whirl. And actually what I might do is curl up with this on what is looking like it's going to be quite a rainy Sunday afternoon and see how I get on with it. So yeah, I should be heading to this one very, very soon. And then we have a book that, well, I've never had a Commonplace book before. However, I've heard about them and been intrigued by them through the wonderful Miranda Mills, whose channel I really, really love and I will link below. And aptly, she has now got a Commonplace book coming out. It is the Country Commonplace book, and what Commonplace books do is have like quotes, recipes, pictures, all sorts of different things that take you through the seasons. And so my plan is to delve into this next year because it starts with spring and yeah, see how I get on with it. But I'm really, really, really intrigued for it, and I've always been interested in them whenever Miranda's talked about them, so it's delightful that she now has one. I mean, I could technically, with autumn, as we've already mentioned, being so near, sort of start with autumn. Oh, look at that picture. It's got a fox in it. Everyone knows I'm a fox. Is there a hedgehog? If there's a hedgehog, it's a sign. No, there isn't a hedgehog, but the fox is a sign enough. Anyway, yeah, so I'm very, very, very excited to get to this. Then the lovely folk at Vintage very kindly sent me a memoir. I think it's, a memoir of sorts is how it's being described. And this is Book of Lives by Margaret Atwood. If you couldn't guess from the fantastic cover of this proof, also spreadsheets of absolute delight there. I'm so interested for this because it looks like it's going to be quite vignette-y. There's pictures I've just spotted, and I am a big Margaret Atwood fan. I've recently had the absolute joy, well, I say recently, it's been going on since, when's it been going on since? January, reading her collection of, or collected poems, Paper Boat, and really, really enjoyed that. So yeah, very excited to head to some of her non-fiction. I've also just seen this absolutely brilliant sticker, which I think is meant to be her with number of the proof that you've got. So yeah, really, really excited for this. This is out in November, and yeah, can't wait to get reading that. It feels like one that I might dip in and out of, but probably a bit more, well, probably less sporadically than I did the poetry collection. And another book that I've been sent that I'm going to dip in and out of, because I have read, I think, nearly all of these short stories before, is this chunkster. Again, the foiling, the lighting, what's going on today? But this is Daphne du Maurier's After Midnight. Daphne du Maurier is one of my favourite authors. Rebecca is one of the reasons that I got back into reading after I had not for quite a while.
I'll cover it in something.
Also spot that little eye poking out there because there could be something sinister ahead. Yeah, she's one of my favourite authors. Rebecca was the book that got me back into reading after I hadn't for about 6 or 7 years. So yeah, big fan. This is coming out in time for Halloween, I believe. Let me just check that. See, another one which has a numbered. I think this is to stop people selling them on eBay, which is gross. Anyway, I don't reread books that often, but rereading short stories is something that I think I maybe should do more often, because every time I reread Sherlock Holmes, I get so much joy out of it. Why have I never done that with any other collections? And this being like an anthology, yeah, I'm going to be heading to it. So we have that. And then last but certainly not least from publishers of books that are out this year, because I'm going to talk about 2026 books shortly, is a book that I asked for. And partly it's because this has my favourite fruit on the cover, and the talk of raspberries has been sporadic but quite regular on the channel over the last few months. But yeah, the raspberry made me want it. This is Catherine Dang's What Hunger, and I believe this is is it vampires or is it cannibals? Well, it's a haunting coming-of-age tale following the daughter of Vietnamese immigrants, Ronnie Nguyen, as she grapples with the weight of generational trauma while navigating the violent power of teenage girlhood. But I think it is about vampires, or am I completely wrong? Anyway, it's one I'm very excited about. The raspberry made me do it, as I've said, and I want to get to this one very soon indeed. I've got a feeling about this that it might be a 5-star read for me, and I am umming about whether I do a vlog where I take a selection of books that I think are going to be 5 stars and see if they are or not. Is that something you'd like to see on the channel? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'd quite like vlogs to be back sporadically. Then on to, as I mentioned, some 2026 books. They are starting to come in thick and fast. The first of which I am partly super duper excited about because of the setting. This is Belgrave Road by Manish Chauhan, and this is a love story. This is a love story of two people working side by side but living worlds apart. That to me is the perfect length of a blurb. I don't really need much more than that, but I did need a little bit more than that, because the book and its setting, when it came with the PR blurb, which is a bit longer, they mentioned that it's set in Leicester, and I don't think I've ever read a book set in Leicester, and Leicester is where my dad lives, and I go every so often, and it's a city that I really like but don't feel like gets shouted about enough. So yeah, I'm intrigued for this one. This is out in January. Then we have, and this looks like a perfect book to read in the coming weeks in advance of, or coming months in advance of 2026, because the title alone. And this is Anna Kovatcheva's She Made Herself a Monster. I think you can tell that this is going to be some kind of horror. Very short blurb. It's dangerous to go alone at night. The village's curse has endured for many years. The arrival of Yana, a vampire hunter, promises salvation, but there is more to the village that meets the eye, and Yana is not what she pretends to be. Ooh, and it says for fans of A.K. Blakemore, Lauren Groff, and Kieran Millwood Hargrave. So yeah, isn't that cover absolutely wonderful? Yeah, very excited for that. Another spooky dooky cover for a book that's actually coming out in March. This is Spoiled Milk by Avery Curran. I am realising milk is one of my least favourite words.
Spoiled Milk makes me feel good. And then I watched Hot Milk, the adaptation of Deborah Levy's film the other day, which was pretty good actually. I really enjoyed it. I thought they did the ending particularly well. If you read the book, you'll know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, that's such a random tangent that we don't even need to go into anymore, but I'm not going to word milk.
On the back it says, the untimely death of a boarding school student, a series of haunting supernatural events, and a rising body count. This is a new voice in fiction, from an original new voice in fiction comes a visceral debut novel of lesbian desire, haunted institutions, and the everyday horror of coming of age. Oh, nearly dropped it from the excitement, because this sounds like it's going to be great. And again, hadn't heard anything about this before it came in the post. And those short blurbs are blinking perfect, so it just doesn't give too much away. Thank you to folk at River Run for sending me that. Then the lovely folk at Virago sent me 2 of their big books for 2026. The first of which is Westward Women by Alice Martin. Again, you can't really tell that from the cover, although Now, what does it say on the front? Actually, I haven't even checked that out. What does it mean to be free? This is about, a really odd, I don't want to say pandemic, but a really odd occurrence where women start to feel this scratching itch and then suddenly, for no reason, all start to head to the sea and then they vanish. I mean, what a premise. Very intrigued for this. It's had some, comparisons to Margaret Atwood, the aforementioned Margaret Atwood. And so that gets me very, very intrigued for it. Also, I do want to head to more dystopic books. Oh, it is absolutely going for it rain-wise outside. There we are, a little weather update for you that none of you asked for. And last but not least, from Virago, but also of the 2026 books that I've been sent and books that have been sent by publishers, is Good People by Patmina Sabit. This is out in February, and this is all about the events leading up to a tragic incident involving a young girl called Zora Sharaf, whose family have moved from Afghanistan to America. And this has a really interesting blurb actually, because it's quotes about what people have said of this character. So it says, everyone thinks they know what happened to Zora Sharaf. She was the light of the family. Maybe it's not good to say now, but in the end they made their own monster. Other people are saying she was one of those unique spirits that marched to the beat of their own drum, and others are saying you can't hold anyone's mouth shut. Everyone knew what that girl was. So yeah, I think this is going to be really, really interesting. So there we are. I've also just realised that I told you a big fib, because I also got this lovely parcel from Monument Books, which is a new publishing imprint that is being set up by Rennie Edo Lodge, and it came with a notebook. Can't go wrong with that, and also some postcards with a quote from Rennie Edo Lodge saying, "I write and read to assure myself that other people have felt what I'm feeling too, that it isn't just me, that this is real and valid and true." And the book that's come with it is Resistance by Steve McQueen, edited by Clary Wallace with Sarah Harrison. And it's all about acts of resistance, and I think this is going to be really, really fascinating. So one that I'm looking forward to getting to at some point. It smells amazing. So yeah, that was a very, very lovely parcel to get, and you can't get enough totes. Well, you probably can, but you also can't. Now on to books that I bought myself, and actually there will be another tote coming. Editing Simon, because I forgot to include a book that I was sent, because I put it on a different bit of my shelves, and the book that I was sent is from the author, and I'm so excited for this. This is All the World Can Hold by Jung Yun, and this is Jung's third novel. I absolutely loved Shelter. I'm very naughty because I've not read Oh Beautiful, which I need to and will probably head to next. But this is coming out in 2026 in America in March, and is being compared to White Lotus if it was set on a cruise ship. I don't need to know anything more than that. I don't think any of you need to know anything more than that. Other than that, sounds incredible, and Shelter was amazing, and like I said, very excited for this, even though I haven't not got to this, and I should have, because I've had it for a while. I got it imported when it came out. But yeah, very, very thankful for Jung for sending me this, and I look forward to getting it in the not too distant future. I feel like it's going to be a 2026 highlight, even if I end up reading it in 2025. How does all of that work? I'm not sure. Anyway, back to me, who's now going to tell you about all the books he bought himself this month. The last book that I bought myself this month was only on Friday, when Mum and I were in Oxford after doing an event with the wonderful Susanna Stapleton, whose new non-fiction is Brill, and I will also be talking to you about in my August wrap-up. We went to Gulp Fiction, which is a fab indie bookshop in the market in Oxford, and they have tables where you can pick a book and then you get a free coffee. So we both actually ended up getting this, although Mum got another book as well, but we both ended up getting Dead End Memories by Banana Yoshimoto, translated by Asa Yanida. And that cover, I mean, that is giving absolute autumn to me. What a stunner. This is short stories. I'm very naughty because I still haven't read Kitchen, which I bought also when I was with Mum a while back. But yeah, one that I'm definitely going to head to this autumn, because that cover, it would be remiss of me, I was going to say illegal, let's not go too far, but remiss of me not to read that during autumn. Then this book I ordered from Blackwell's because it's out in America.
What I love about Blackwell's is a lot of people outside of the UK use it to get books shipped wherever they are. Well, the UK editions of books shipped wherever they are with free shipping. And also, if you're in the UK, you can often get international editions or books out internationally that you can't in the UK.
And one such book is Such Times by Christopher Coe, which the wonderful Anna, whose channel I will link down below, and has just done a fabulous video on autumn reads in the most incredible autumn outfit. She talked about this in a wrap-up recently. It might even been her books of the year so far, and just could not stop raving about it. This is a republished sort of lost classic that has been described by many people as one of the best queer novels ever. Sorry, I'm gonna have to pause because I don't know if you can hear, but Oscar's going bonkers. Oscar is here. One thing I forgot to say while Oscar decides where he's going to settle is quite an unusual size of a book, this one. Like if you compare it to your average paperback, yeah, little, but also chunky. So yeah, bit of a chode, some might say. Anyway, very, very much looking forward to this with a little bit of trepidation because I do think it's going to be an emotional, well, I'm going to be an emotional wreck afterwards. Then two books that I picked up in the West Kirby Bookshop 2.0. So the wonderful Jordan and Dan, sorry this is really crinkled because I've been taking it everywhere with me over the last week since I went, but the lovely Jordan and Dan have opened a new shop. Well, I say new shop, they've moved premises, and yeah, it is a new shop. The new shop is absolutely stunning. I'll have popped a few pictures of it here. Yeah, I know I'm going to sound biased because it is my local and I love Jordan and Dan, but I think it might be one of the best independent bookshops in the UK that I've been to. I can't lie. And if you get a chance to go, you must. It's one of those bookshops that is like worth even just having a little weekend in West Kirby. There's restaurants and things galore. I mean, I'm not trying to be the World Tourist Board, but apparently now I am. And I picked up two books there. One is another reissue actually, and that is All the Blood is Red by Leonie Ross, whose Poppy Show, or This One Sky Day, depending on where you could get your mitts on it, I thought was absolutely phenomenal. And this is one of her earlier novels that Faber have republished, and I'm very, very intrigued for. I don't know much about it at all and don't want to. I just want to go in and see what journey Leonie takes me on, and frankly I can't wait. This is another one I want to head to very, very soon. I also, while I was there, picked up Shred Sisters by Betsy Lerner, which I didn't realise had been published here in the UK, but it has, by the folk at Verve Books. And I've just heard amazing things about this. I really love books about sisters, and that's what I think had put it on my periphery, because I'd heard lots of buzz about it in America. And then very recently, the lovely Cole mentioned it, or sorry, mentioned her in one of his videos. And I was like, oh, and then funnily enough, 2 days later, saw this, and so I was like, right, I'll get my mitts on that. And so I did, and here it is. It's very strange though in West Kirby Bookshop, I will say. These next books have come from a mixture of places. So the ones that I got from Blackwell's were, or I should say, the reason that I have bought all of these books is because of the absolute car crash that has been the Polari Prize this year with the whole John Boyne of it all. I'm not going to go into details about it. Everyone's talked about it a lot, but what I really, really, really wanted to do was support all the authors who withdrew their books because there was a transphobe on the list. And these are some of those authors, and I've read some of these already, and I'm slowly surely getting through, or my plan is to continue slowly surely getting through the rest of those authors' works, because I want to support the authors who supported trans rights. The first two I have read, well, I've read another, I'm getting myself all of a dither now. So these three I got from Blackwell's. They are Impossible Heat by Kiara Maguire, which is a slim but brilliant poetry collection. I've already read this, so I'll be talking about that in my August wrap up, as I will Girls Etc. by Rianne Elizabeth, which another absolutely fantastic poetry collection. Haven't got to Sana Asan's I Cannot be good until you say it, but I really, really want to read this very, very soon. Then from the publisher directly, I ordered Blood Songs by May Dian Sangu. Very, very excited for this. From the publisher again, I ordered Nude Against a Rock by Robert Hamburger. And this one I have also read, so we'll be talking about in August. And then, last but not least, for two books that aren't anything to do with the Polari Prize, I ordered Like Water, Like Sea by Olamide Papula, which I got from World of Books. So, yeah. I have had a bit of a hit and miss time with World of Books, but this arrived in the condition it stated it was going to be. Also, sorry, I just got really, really distracted there by the end papers. They are gorgeous. I don't know what this is about at all, so I'm really looking forward to a hopefully exciting time finding out. But yeah, I don't know how I missed this when it was published, because that cover is very, very me. Love me a primary colour. Right, we're almost at the end of this book haul, and we're ending with two secondhand books that I got in a wonderful new cafe in Port Sunlight. I say new, it was in Birkenhead for a while, but they have taken over the old bank in Port Sunlight, and it is incredible. Again, I sound like the Wirral Tourist Board, but there are some really, really lovely places on the Wirral. Moving on, Nettle. It's an incredible cafe. It's also a second-hand bookshop, and I just love what they are doing there. And when I went the opening week, I picked up these two books, as well as having a lovely forager breakfast and also an incredible blueberry cake. The books were firstly Novel About My Wife by Emily Perkins. Emily Perkins is an, I want to say, Australian author.
I'm now worried that maybe she is from New Zealand.
She lives in New Zealand, and I have a couple of her more recent books on my shelves, but anytime I see a book that is trickier to get by an Antipodean author, I will. And so this one I picked up. And then I also got a copy of Split Tooth by Tanya Tagak, and I've heard brilliant things about this. It won a prize, I think, winner of the 2019 Indigenous Voices Award and longlisted for the 2018 Scotty Bankula Prize, which is like the Canadian version of the Booker. And so this has been on my radar for a while, and then seeing it in Nettle, I was like, right, I've got to have it. So I got it. There we are. Right. Sorry, that one fell over. That was my August book haul. I would love to know any gems that you picked up secondhand, bought in your local independent bookshop, or borrowed from your library. Let me know those things in the comments down below. Also, if you've loved some of these, let me know that in the comments down below. If you didn't love some of these, hold fire on telling me that until I have read them, and then fair game. We can go to town on whether we agree, disagree, or feel ambivalent. As always, thank you for joining me. I hope you're all doing super duper well. I will be back with another video very soon. In the interim, if you want more savage shenanigans, you can head to my Instagram, my Blue Sky, my Patreon, my wishlist, all those things. Hope all is as lovely as can be. Hope you're reading something fabulous. If you'd like to like this video, apparently that really helps at the moment with something to do with the YouTube algorithm, then do. If you're not subscribed and you want to be, that would also be lovely. I'm not going to beg, but it would be lovely. And yeah, I will see you in another video very, very soon, but keep chatting to you in the comments. Until then, bye. That was a different ending for me.